Another day, another episode. Although it's more like another week, another episode. But, right. So, video games. We've all played one at some point, right? I mean, boomers practically grew up on NESs and whatnot, and like all of the game consoles we have available these days. So, that's what I want to talk about in today's episode. I just kind of want to talk generally about video games and give my opinions as well as a cool few facts and whatnot. Now, I'm no stranger when it comes to video games, mind you. I grew up with a GameCube that was actually gifted to me by a relative. I used to play Sonic Adventure 2 a lot, which I'm pretty sure started not only my love for video games, but my love for Sonic in general, which is cool. Thanks, guys. I still have my GameCube actually, and it still works to this day, but when I was moving, I couldn't find half the games to go with it, and sadly, Sonic Adventure 2 was one of them. I could just pay close to $80 Canadian to get it from Game City, but I don't have any money at the moment, so that's out of the question, and moving on. So, when I was talking with a friend who likes video games nearly as much as I do, Lord Flim, aka Albert, he said that he doesn't live near any game shops that buy and sell old games and consoles. So, I thought that was just a UK thing or something, and I asked one of my partners, ThatNamelessOne, or, just Nameless, and he said that he lives near a few GameStops, but none of them properly buy old video games, and none of the games that they sell are all that old either. So, is that just like a Canadian thing, or do any of y'all have that kind of thing too? Because, like, I live near 3 game cities, and they all buy and sell old games. Heck, it's even where I got my Sega Genesis, N64, and a new controller for my GameCube from. Like, they even sell NES and Super NES games there. But, like, according to my friends, none of them seem to live near anything similar. So, but on the topic of old video games, you could just use an emulator if you don't have any of the old consoles. There's a bunch of those emulators online that let you play those old games online for free. I usually use retrogames.cz, mind you. It's where I like to go to play a bunch of the classic arcade games such as Frogger, Pac-Man, and whatnot. So, moving away from the retro games real quick, I want to talk about the newer games, especially the newer Mario games compared to the old ones. See, newer Mario games to me just feel like they added a bunch of new gimmicks and called it a game. But, I mean, that's honestly been every recent Mario platformer. I mean, I feel like 3D World, for example. Like, it tries to be a new experience, but in reality, it's literally just a 3D iteration of New Super Mario Bros. Wii. In my opinion, anyways. But, like, back to the older games. The older games are just classic, and often have a lot more charm to them, and aren't tied up to the stupid constraints of realism that the newer games are. Like, I definitely have a lot of favorite old games, like Super Mario World for the Super NES, or Sonic 2 for the Sega Genesis, and those are just way more fun than the modern games are. And don't get me wrong, I still find the newer games fun and all, but like, not as fun. Super Mario Bros. 2 for the 3DS, for example. You die enough times in a level, it gives you this powerful raccoon slash Tanuki Mario power-up that basically just says to you, like, hey, you failed quite a bit here and you suck. How's about we just give you ultimate power to pass this level easier so you don't die again? And then, like, the older Mario games, like Super Mario World for the Super NES, doesn't even have that. Like, if you suck at the level, you're stuck on it until you beat it. Like, I've been stuck on stupid vanilla Ghost House for a week. But that just makes it more satisfying when I do beat it by myself, not with the help of some stupid power-up the game gave me out of self-pity. Anyways, trying to get your hands on old games, mind you, can be tough, especially ones as popular as Mario. which is where the emulators come in handy, as I said before. But I've been trying to find Mario Paint for the Super NES recently, and boy, was that a frickin' challenge. But a bit of good news is that I went back to the flea market booth that I got my Super NES from to begin with, which the guy who runs it sells a ton of old games and consoles. So I talked to them and asked if they had it, which they didn't, but they said that they might know a buddy who does, with the mouse to go with it. So I gave them my number, and they said they'd message me on any updates, which I haven't heard back yet, so fingers crossed that I do soon, but I don't know anymore. Speaking on Mario Paint, though, okay, so I've been up for nearly a day and a half, by the way, but me and a friend started writing down notes and junk for a Mario Paint sequel that would be for the GameCube a bit ago. We had all the notes written down, and we still have this somewhere too, as well as a few doodles for the game. If I can find it, I'll even have up on screen the box art design thingy I made the rough sketch of. But, I mean, none of us knew how to actually code it or make it an actual playable GameCube game, so it never saw the light of day and just exists as notes and rough sketches. But hey, even just coming up with all those notes and plans, with me being up a day and a half, mind you, is still pretty impressive. I mean, that kind of creativity and passion for a game is definitely something, alright. And who knows? Maybe one day someone might actually pick up where we left off and make the sequel a reality. Well, you know, if I ever post our full notes anywhere. But I think this episode has gone on long enough now. This might even be my longest episode. I mean, hey, I just got a passion for collecting and playing video games, and I could talk about more stuff like other game consoles, or even how I think that remaking Paper Mario TTYD for the Switch was stupid and the GameCube original was better, but, as I said, episode is long enough as it is, so if anyone wants, I'll make a part 2. Also, I know that a few people are gonna probably disagree or argue with me, so feel free to leave your opinions in the comments or whatever. Anyways, cue the outro. Bye.